Hello, um, good morning, good afternoon, or maybe good evening, wherever you are. This video actually is very unscripted, and I'm just doing this video. I didn't write anything anywhere or anything like that. I'm just gonna be doing it because it's something that I that is very close to my heart. And as you may have seen on the as you may have seen on the title of this video, it is about the Philippines. And um, I've never done this before. This is the first time I'm doing a video and maybe to put it on a social media or any medium for any subject. But I just thought I should do this one today simply because I think if we all want change to happen anywhere that is dear to us in the world, then we need to speak up. And that is why I'm doing this. And it's also because of a comment made by a friend of mine. By the time I told you this story, then you realize that, and that is the reason why I'm doing this. Yeah, so it's not scripted. This is just coming plain from my heart to the Philippine people and hopefully to the Philippine government or the policymakers. Yeah. Okay, just a brief introduction. My name is Joe, Joe Momo. I'm originally from West Africa, in West Africa, but I've been living in the United Kingdom, in England, for over 20 years. I came when I was very young, but now I'm a bit old, but don't tell my wife that. And I'm married. My wife is Filipina, and this is my wife. This is when we got married. This is when we got married 10 years ago. And we have a child, a daughter, a very beautiful princess, our princess. And this is our princess. Her name is Bethany. Now, what I'm going to be saying is all about what happened to Bethany in the Philippines. Yeah. And that is why I'm doing this video. So please, when I'm going to be using words like the Philippines, I'm not talking about the 100 plus million Philippine people. I'm simply talking about the government and the government policies, okay? Because when I told you the story of what happened, what affected Bethany, my 4-year-old child, then you will understand why I'm using the word Philippine. And please, a disclaimer is that I'm not talking about the 100 plus million Filipino people who, in my opinion, they're fantastic people. So what happened was that about a year and a half ago, my wife, who is a nurse here in England, she got the opportunity to do further studies in nursing. And so because I work and I'm very busy and she worked as well as a nurse, and we have a 2-year-old or almost 2-year-old at the time. So she then decided, or we decided, but she suggested and we came to the agreement to send Bethany to the Philippines to be with her grandmom, our mother, who was just at that time recently retired. So I said, okay, well, because I've been to the Philippines for more than 4 times. Couple of times I've been there. And so I said, okay, well, there's no issue with that. Okay, please send it. But that was before COVID. We made all the arrangements, and then she went with Bethany to the Philippines, and that was the first time Bethany even went there. Of course, she was just going to be 2 years old, and but she was supposed to only go there for like 3 months, maximum 5 months, and then I would have been the one to go back and bring her, yeah, because then we would have made enough arrangements for her to come back to England. So what happened was that so she took Bethany there. Literally about a month, not more than 2 months, COVID, the pandemic affected the entire world, including Philippines, southern Philippines, the Mindanao region, where Bethany's grandmother lives, my wife's mom lives, was heavily hit, had a lot of cases of COVID. So, of course, at that period of time, we were worried. But thankfully, nothing happened to them. They were spared the scourge of the COVID pandemic at that time. So, so she was there, and then Philippines went into complete lockdown. And of course, as most of us know, the world went into lockdown as well. There are a lot of cases happen all over the world, and people couldn't move, couldn't do anything. So we then realized during that period of time, they gave Bethany, I think, they gave her about 6 months visa because she's carrying a British passport. So they gave her about 6 month visa. But we knew that she was going to only stay there for like 3 months, maximum 5 months. Yeah. And then we're going to bring her back because that was the plan. So so eventually we realized that 3 months came and gone, 5 months came and gone, and the visa was expiring. So we then, but by that time, our grandmother went to some authorities or called some authorities, and they said, nothing is going to happen. Don't you see, we're on lockdown? Everybody was on lockdown, as everybody knows. So to cut a long story short, so we were in this situation. We keep writing emails, and we were really, really worried, seriously worried, because here's our 2-year-old who then get to a 3-year-old while she was there. We want to get her back to England, at least not because there's problem in the Philippines, but just because, we want her back home to us, our parents. So we were like worried. We were writing letters to the British High Commission to see if they can help to repatriate her, or to the Philippine embassy here. We also wrote a letter about what to do. Yeah, because just after a month after a visa expired, we wrote to the embassy here. They didn't even know what to tell us. They wrote some letter and said, well, we need to contact the authorities in Philippines. And my mother-in-law was doing that, contacting them, and of course no one is coming back to us because we understood there was lockdown. So who are you going to talk to? So fast forward, recently now, Philippines and the world is coming out of like total lockdown. Even in England, here, where we live, lockdown, I think, just we finished lockdown maybe about not more than 2 months ago. So we then went now, my wife went last week, just when they lifted the lockdown in the Philippines. My wife went there last week to go and collect Bethany. Yeah. And let me show you Bethany again. This is our 4-year-old daughter, Bethany. So my wife went again to go and to bring her back, to go and bring Bethany home. So we've done everything, and as you can imagine, it was just like a 2 days planning we made just to go and bring her back, because she has to go back to work, and and I'm also working and stuff like that. So it cost us, quite a bit. But this is our child. We haven't seen her for like 2 years. Well, about a year and a half. For me, it sounds like eternity, and we haven't seen her. So, so my wife went there, and then she went with how do you the COVID pass, this vaccination pass, because she's vaccinated. She went with the COVID vaccination pass. She took a PCR test here, and when she got to the Philippines, they put on quarantine. We had to arrange a hotel. She was in quarantine for like 6 days. They came and they do their swab, and of course we're expecting nothing, because nothing, she's had all the tests and she's vaccinated. And then after that, so the day then today, so I'm speaking to you, and that's the reason why I'm having this video. Today they are supposed to leave the Philippines, or they are leaving as we speak. I'm sure they're on the air. Thank God for that. They're coming back home. When she got to the airport, yesterday was when she finished the quarantine in the Philippines. So then today she's bringing back the child. She got to the airport, and there was the head of the immigration department at Cebu, Mactan or something like that. Please forgive me if I don't say it correctly. Cebu Mactan Airport. She stopped them and said that Bethany has overstayed a visa or a stay. And then she then threatened my wife, because I used the word threatening, because you could have explained, listen to them, let them have their story. Listen to their story. The world has been in a tight spot in the last 2 years, actually. She then threatened my wife that she's going to take my wife. Can you imagine that my wife can go because she has a passport and everything is okay with it, and my daughter, who's got a British passport, she used the word stand down or something like that, which is just ridiculous. And then of course Bethany will not go. My wife can go, but Bethany is an overstayer. First of all, in many parts of the world, if you overstay, I'm sure they will be glad to deport you. But apparently not in the Philippines. Yeah. And with that, my wife got panicked, even though she was born. This is the point. Yeah. Please, Philippines. Now, I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the people who govern the Philippines. Listen to me. If you can't protect your own people, the people who carries your passport, your identity, if you guys don't protect them, trust me, don't expect the rest of the world to do anything better. You should be the one to put your own citizens first. Here was a woman who has already been traumatized, because this woman said to her that she used a word like stand down, better, a 4-year-old child. Standing down a 4-year-old child, taking her, she will not go to the plane because she's overstayed. Can you imagine? So my wife was in a state. So, but at that time, the time difference. So I was sleeping during the night. So they keep calling and calling. And unfortunately, for me, most times when I'm sleeping, I want to sleep, because I work too hard. So my phone was off or on silent. So I didn't hear. So she kept calling and calling. And then as soon as I woke up in the morning, I switch on my phone, and I realized she's been calling. And then immediately she called again, and then I spoke to her. And while we were speaking, then she said, "Can you please speak to this woman, the head of the immigration, or the supervisor in the immigration? I don't know her name, because by the time we got to me asking questions of her, she was being a bit rude to me, in my opinion, in the way I see it. Yeah, she just give back the phone to my wife and don't want to talk to me. So then she said that Bethany has overstayed. And she then repeat the same thing to me. Your wife is okay. But because Bethany is overstayed, we're going to stand down. Bethany cannot go. She can't book the flight because she has overstayed. Maybe, please correct me if I'm wrong, maybe in the Philippines, it is a criminal offense if somebody has come to your country and then they have overstayed. Maybe. If that's the case, then please, I stand to be corrected, and maybe I will take it back. That a 4-year-old just became a criminal because she overstayed. But that's not the story. And that's not even the reason why I'm making this video. The reason why I'm making this video is the fact that we have been in a pandemic where the world has closed down, including the Philippines, for almost a year and a half plus going, counting. Nobody could move anywhere. No government department that is fit for purpose would even open. And rightly so. So I was trying to explain to this woman, please, it's like, okay. And she said, Bethany, we have to pay about maybe about 400 pounds. Otherwise, Bethany will not go, not leave. And then I'm like, okay, it's not even about the money, lady. I said, look at the whole situation. You know, and we all know, Philippines was in a lockdown. And nothing was opened. The government was not open. We could have gone and extended if that was the case. And besides, we would have gone and bring, since last year, we would have bought, a year before last, she would have come back. She only went there for like 3 months to 5 months. Yeah? Maximum 5 months, which would have then been fine because she had the visa for that. And I would have gone there myself. And I said, but it's like you're punishing her. She said, no, I'm not punishing her. And what she said next, that's why I'm using the word the Philippines, not the people. She said, what I'm saying to you is, this is the policy. This is the government policy. This is the Philippine policy. Your child will have to pay us, when she said 28,000 or whatever, but it's about 400 pounds. Yeah. Your child will have to pay us 400 pounds sterling, the equivalent. Otherwise, she will not go on the plane. And I said, why? What's that? She's overstayed. And I'm like, but you do realize the period you're just talking about was the period where the world was not moving. I said, so please, let's use a bit of a reality check here. Let's use common sense. I didn't use the word common sense, but I was thinking in my head, this is like common sense. Yeah. Let's have common sense here. Yeah. This is a period where you yourself that are here now, you were not here at that time. Yeah. So why are you asking her to pay money for a period of time when the world was in lockdown? She couldn't, you have to give maybe this is the point now where she would have, or the system, the Philippines should have given the benefit of the doubt. Those who were caught up on the pandemic and couldn't extend have the right to be waived off. So she was adamant. I don't know about being rude, but she was like, very official and very dogmatic in her stance that this child would have to pay. Now I'm saying Bethany's this child because that's the way she came across us. Bethany will not imagine a 4-year-old. Now the thing that is even interesting in this whole situation, I can hear my daughter playing in the background while her mom was frantically trying to reason with this woman. Yeah. Because the reason why at that moment my wife couldn't, for those of you who say, well, you could have just paid the money, which we did. We said, okay, I'll get to that point to explain to you why my wife was being a bit frantic as well. So, but the thing I'm trying to say is that thankfully, my daughter, a 4-year-old, she was still playing, running around. So I could hear her mom saying to her, Bethany, come, no, don't do that. She doesn't care. All she cares about at that moment, that this woman was trying to violate her, because it is this little child that this woman was trying to violate, because she overstayed at a period of COVID, when nobody in their right mind could leave their house, could go anywhere. I'm talking about the Philippines. I'm talking about a city called Cebu. This thing happened in Cebu at the airport. While this woman was violating this 4-year-old child, stopping her from going home, coming back home to the UK, because she has overstayed at a period of when even they closed their own country. This child was playing. She only, I all thank God for that. What she concerns herself with is the next cartoon. She want to look at a cartoon. She want to run around. She didn't even care about what was going on, and I thank God for that. But the point I'm trying to make, and I'm talking a lot on this, but because this is very, very it was very stressful. Yeah, it became stressful. Yeah. Um uh, uh and the thing is, my wife was now becoming frantic, because even when we say, okay, fine, we're gonna pay you the money. The airport in Cebu doesn't have a money exchange or a money facility. So I went online, I was trying to send money, because my wife didn't have the credit card. She didn't have a credit card with her. So I was trying to send the money. There was no facility there for her to get the money. So we said, okay, fine. Can you give us, because then it was like 30 minutes to board the flight. Yeah. 2.5 hours, 3 hours, she's been wasting my wife's time, not telling her what to do. So when I get on the phone now to try to sort this thing out, 30 minutes to time, she is still stressing she wants her 27 or whatever thousand pesos. All this woman cared about was the money, really. She doesn't care about the welfare of the child. She doesn't even care the fact that this world has been on a pandemic, including the Philippines was on a pandemic. She didn't even care. Or maybe I will say the Philippines didn't care. So if you were there, the pandemic caught you out and you couldn't leave because we would not even allow you to get to the airport. Tough. When you're ready to go, even though we know you didn't create the pandemic, you didn't create the coronavirus, we're still going to lynch you for some money. We're still going to take money off you. But maybe if you do that to an adult, that would be nice. But a 4-year-old child, whose grandmother could not move because of the pandemic. So it looks like I said to the lady, this is not even about the money. This is just about principles. It's like you're saying to me, Philippines doesn't have any principles. And I know they do. Why don't you just, this is how you sell the goodness of the Philippines to the world. This is how you let the world know that we care. But she didn't. It's all about the 20,000 pesos. Maybe that's what the government wants. So we said, okay, fine. Please give us a bank account so that we can transfer the money now. No, they won't do that. Still 30 minutes to go. The airline is waiting for my wife to board. Okay, then my wife got frantic and said, okay, listen, my husband is going to send the money through a money transfer or Western Union, one of these things. Can you guys go and collect it while we go and board the plane? You can see. Yeah. And they said, no. Wow. And then she said, okay, well, can I send the money to one of you in your bank account or whatever? Please just help us. We need to book this flight. We need to board this flight. It's just going to take another 30 minutes and then we would not be able to go. We would have lost this flight. We have to buy, another ticket to go another time. And we need to go now because my wife is going back to work next week. So this woman said no. She was so adamant. My wife put me on the phone and said, please speak to my husband. She said she would not speak to me. So we said we're going to give you the money. So I don't even know why was she annoyed? Why was she was just angry. She was just annoyed at something. I don't know what it was. Honestly, I don't. I wish I do. But all I was concerned about, this nonsense that was going on do not affect my 4-year-old. Thank God she was playing. She was just running around in the airport, trying to look for a cartoon to watch. That's what is the world? That's our own problem. And I thank God that was our problem, not this woman's nonsense or the Philippines nonsense. So in other words, what I'm saying is that the Philippines should please gather your hearts together. I pray to God this doesn't happen anymore where there will be another pandemic. But you have to handle this thing in a much, much better way than just to have a blanket policy to say you that overstayed, maybe I don't know the laws of the Philippines. People who overstay their visa, maybe they're criminals in your law. If it is, then please forgive me. I stand to be corrected. Yeah. But a 4-year-old, that means if it is a criminal offense, then my 4-year-old has just become a criminal, even though it was a pandemic. So going forward, why am I doing this video? I'm doing this so that people in the Philippines could see this and maybe speak to their members of parliament and say, look, we need to do much more better when there has been emergency in the world. When we come out of that emergency, we need to look at things from a humanistic point of view, to look at it from a human point of view. This was a 4-year-old. You just trying to violate her. You telling her she ain't gonna be booked. The mom is okay, but the child cannot go. So while they were all in this mess going on, and the airline, imagine, it got to a point where the plane was waiting for my wife and my child. Everybody is bored. They're waiting just for them. And this foolish woman, because I'm annoyed, honestly, was still being, and she is I think the head supervisor of the immigration, or the chief immigration person. Yeah. I don't want to insinuate any other thing. All I can say is that maybe that woman has got personal issues she needs to deal with. But because she used the word that this is the government's policy, that's why I'm using the words the Philippines. The Philippines could do better. Yeah? It is a lovely place with lovely people. But unfortunately, the system is still failing the people because they don't seem to be selling themselves in the right way to the world. I'm not saying you have to continue to, bow down to everybody, but there are times you use common sense. We're just coming out of a pandemic. And of course, those who break the law, let them pay for that. But sometimes when you look at the case, the woman didn't even give us a chance to explain anything. She doesn't want to know nothing. She said, Bethany has been overstayed during the pandemic time. And the thing that is painful for my wife, in our 10 years of marriage, she's been selling the Philippines to me, especially the Mindanao area, or the Cebu area, or the Visayan area. My wife is Visayan, yes. She's been selling it to me in a very positive light. She's very upbeat. She so loved Philippines that she refused to take British citizenship. And the first thing that came out of her mouth when I get on the phone, when she was in this frantic state, she said, babe, I'm going to change my citizenship. I'm ashamed of my country. Or at least that's what I thought. It was my country. So, and the reason why I did this video, when I called my friend, my cousin, who, when my wife couldn't get me, he got my cousin to call me. When I called him, he said, the first thing that came out of his mouth, he said, the Philippines is a corrupt country, a corrupt place. He said, please sort this thing out quickly. Give them what they want. I said, I've done it now. He said, okay, good. Let them just come out. So you see what I'm saying? Even me, I don't like when people say Philippines is corrupt. Even if that's the truth. I would want Philippines to change. Now, why do I want that? Because I have a 4-year-old. Just in case you might not know. Yeah. The reason why I want that is because I have a 4-year-old who have a choice to become a Filipino if she wants. I have a 4-year-old who's a Filipina. So I've got interest in the Philippines to do better. And you know what this woman was saying to me? She said, sir, what I'm saying to you is this. Let your daughter become a Filipino citizen as well. Then I said, okay, yes, fine. That might be in the future. But for now, please don't stand in their way. We want to pay the money, but you don't have any means for us to pay the money here. What do you want? She just wants the child, if you know, to stay. I'm laughing now, but it wasn't funny. It was not funny at all. I was really annoyed. Now, people might say to me that she's not speaking for the Philippine government. But if there's any way a policy like that is in the books of the laws of the Philippines, then maybe we've all learned a lot during this coronavirus time. We've all learned a lot. A lot of things have happened. It took a lot of people by surprise. I know that. A lot of people suffered. People have lost a lot of things. We all know that. Yeah, none of us were ready for it. But now the dust is settling. I pray to God we don't see this thing anymore. Let us have human heart. Let us have humanity in us. The way we deal with one another nowadays. Because if you don't, then you're just going to punish somebody unnecessarily. If you're going to punish somebody for not being at a place at a particular time during the pandemic time when every place was shut down, then you're just going to be doing the work of, I don't know how to put it, the work of people who are evil. And for me, it resonates with me, or it didn't sit well with me, because even if this was not my child, I think you shouldn't be punishing a 4-year-old. And the reason why I'm saying a 4-year-old, because the woman was concentrating on the child. She had a concentration on her that she will not go. She was using the word Bethany will not go because Bethany has overstayed. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this woman is crazy. So I will have to take Bethany off the plane because she has overstayed. This is a 4-year-old. 4-year-old. Please, people, I want you to know this. A 4-year-old child. A Filipina. A child that has the right to even be in Philippines as well. Because her mom is Filipino. Born and bred in the Visayan region. So for me, the only thing, I'm so annoyed that I said it there. I said I will never go back to the Philippines. If my daughter wants to go and do whatever she wants to do with the Philippines, when she's grown up, she can do that. But for me, I'm so annoyed. And I still am. You might not see it in me at the moment. That I've made the decision not to ever go to the Philippines until the day I die. Never would I go there. Because this is not right. Now you will say that this is just one person, but she spoke for the government. She spoke for the policy that is in place. This policy should have been taken out for now. There should have been what you call amnesty for a period of time, maybe till the end of this year, an amnesty, and everybody should know about it, published it, so that people will know that you will not be punished, because we don't know about this coronavirus. It's like the reason I felt bad, because it's like Bethany is like my child, my 4-year-old child was responsible for the coronavirus. And I asked the woman that, are you punishing her because she made the virus or something? Because that's the way it looks. She couldn't move, she couldn't do anything. Because you closed down, you shut down, you locked down. So in closing, I do have fond memories about the Philippines when I was going there with my wife before we got married, and even after, well, no, it was before we got married. But now, I think those things will just be memories. I'm not going to push it anymore. I'm not going there. I don't care. My wife said, well, no, Cebu. My wife was so upbeat about Cebu. She said we shouldn't go to Manila. When we were booking for the ticket for her to go, she said Cebu, the people in Cebu are more understanding. I'm not going to even say anything when they come back. By God, they'll be here tomorrow. I'm not going to say nothing about this, because I know that she is disappointed. So, please, for those of you who are going to see this video, please don't, you can comment or whatever, And but this was not done to please bring down or to look down or to say something bad about the Philippines. I would not do that. The Philippines is my daughter's country as well as my wife. So in other words, by extension, it is my country as well. But I do think as a nation, let me use the word we now. Like I said, I've got a stake in the Philippines. As a nation, we need to change for real. And I do agree to some extent with my friend, my cousin, that says, you know, it's a corrupt country. I've never accepted that. But I have to say yes. Because he said, you know, that money is not going to the government. I said, I don't know. And quite frankly, I don't care. I don't care who's on that money or whatever distortion they do from people. But it's just that they're not putting us, the Philippines, as a nation, they're not putting us in the good light. You know, my daughter is going to grow up saying, I'm a Filipino. I want her to be proud of her nation. I want her to be a proud Filipino as well. She might choose to say, Dad, I'm not an African or a British. That's fine. She might say, Dad, I want to be Filipino. I want to identify with the Philippine culture. That's why, in fact, we are trying to encourage her from an early age to go there at the age of 2 so that she can start hearing some of the language. She can start get used to the language and the culture and the people. But this has left a bad taste in my mouth. And that is to say the least. I'm trying to control myself so I don't say words that I might end up regretting because I'm so disappointed, very, very disappointed. So I will just leave it here so I don't say anything stupid. Yeah. But pleased to say that my wife and my daughter, my family, they're on their way. They're coming. Tomorrow I shall see them. Maybe we will do a video and then you will see them. And then maybe she will explain a bit more. My wifey, that is. She's shy, but I will coax her to say something. And then I might put it back online so that you guys can see. You can hear it firsthand. For me, I heard on the phone, that's all. And I heard enough to do this video because of what this woman was saying to me. And the way she was so rude to me and the way she was so annoyed at, I don't know why. She was just annoyed at stuff. And I'm like, okay, lady, slow down. You know? So, okay, thank you very much for your time. This is a long video. I'm so sorry about that. But I've just got this off my chest now. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. You can make any comments below and I shall read all of them. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.